problem of evil. The problem of evil has been a subject of profound interest for our species as long as human culture has existed. The first recorded murder in the Bible, of course, occurs when Cain slays Abel. Archaeological discoveries have likewise unearthed evidence of likely homicides prior to recorded civilization. In any event, as long as humans have walked the earth, it appears that evil has been present in some form or another. Evil in the Hebrew Scriptures, which we commonly refer to as the Old Testament, has a range of meaning from things like sad or bad or unwanted to ethically or morally contrary to the will of God. For example, when Elkanah sees his wife Hannah suffering, crying in 1 Samuel chapter 1, he asks her, "Why are you grieving?" Or another way to say it is, "Why are you suffering evil?" Whereas in Genesis chapter 38, the Lord slays Onan for his evil, or his failure to honor the moral and ethical duty to the wife of his deceased brother. We first are introduced to evil in Genesis at the tree of knowledge of good and evil. There it has the meaning of that which is contrary to what is good, or what is pleasant, or what is agreeable, or like God. The problem of evil also declares that bad things happen to good people, and the search for how that can be possible. So at this point, we also need to introduce the predominantly Western concept of theosity. Theosity is literally divine justice, or to defend God in the face of evil. Or how can evil be present in the face of a loving God? Wouldn't an omnipotent God conquer evil so that it never harmed us? That's the conundrum or the question that is posed by evil. Theosity and the problem of evil are most profoundly addressed, of course, in the book of Job. Job asks, "Why are the righteous punished, and why do the righteous suffer, just as an unrighteous person? And why does God permit this to happen?" Theosity answers this question at the end of the book. Theosity, however, is not present in every culture's treatment of the problem of evil. For example, in Confucianism, it is the human that makes the way of heaven great, not heaven that makes the way of the human great. So for many in the world, the problem of evil is not solved by God and not addressed by theosity, but rather from within the person. We would also call this humanism. When the New Testament writers and subsequent church fathers address the problem of evil, we need to remember they take the view, as the Hebrew writers before them, that the humanity cannot escape it without divine intervention. The biblical view of evil is an ongoing statement that God's divine justice can somehow be defended even in the face of evil, that the persistence of evil in the world is not proof that God cannot exist, rather, just the opposite, that without the good, the evil would never exist, and all the implications of the interaction between the two. What will follow in the biblical text on this subject and throughout the Christian dispensation of time is precisely how we humans attempt to make sense of evil and to please the righteous God. Always remember, the doctrine or doctrines that deal with this issue are trying to figure out this question: can evil be conquered in the human context and spirit, and if so, how? In any event, we don't have to be a scholar to see the moral and the ethical failings of humanity all about us. In every new generation, we see it repeated. We have struggled with the problem of evil as long as humanity has existed. There really shouldn't be any argument, therefore, against the problem of evil, that it exists. In our next videos, we will examine the treatment of the problem of evil from an Old Testament and a New Testament point of view. The treatment of evil in the Hebrew Scriptures is different to some degree than its treatment in the New Testament. And I would argue that one of the main reasons for this is the presence and the intervention of the Christian Messiah in the New Testament. God declares himself through Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit that he directly intervenes in the human experience to conquer the problem of evil.